Alright, hello everybody and welcome to CamelCast Solos. This is going to be our first ever CamelCast Solos. Today it's just me, Jaden, the co-host of CamelCast, because Sam is in Texas and is not able to record today. So CamelCast Solos, we are just going to talk about all the issues, same thing, all the news, but it's just me or just Sam, depending on the week. So, I hope you enjoy the first ever CamelCast Solos, and let's begin. So, our first story today is going to be impeachment. As you probably have already heard, impeachment inquiries have began in the House. Nancy Pelosi officially confirmed that there is going to be an impeachment inquiry. What does this mean? This means that Trump can now be impeached. It means that the House is going, the House Judiciary Committee is going to get enough facts and facts, and they're going to understand the issue of the call with Ukraine and all the other scandals that Trump has been involved in, and they're going to vote. Yes or no, should we give this vote to the House to see if he should be impeached? If it passes the Judiciary Committee, then the House Judiciary Committee, then it's given to the House. Then the whole entire House of Representatives votes on it. And I believe if 2/3 of the House say yes to impeachment, then it passes to the Senate. The House is Democrat controlled, so I bet that it will pass the House. The Senate is where the challenge is going to be at. Again, I believe it's 2/3 of the Senate that it needs to pass, and if it passes the Senate, Trump would be officially impeached and removed from office. I doubt that it passes the Senate, but there is a chance. There is some people that are saying that up to 30 Republicans support impeachment, which would be more than enough needed to impeach Trump. And if that is so, then we might be looking at Pence as our president for a couple of months, and I doubt he wins re-election if he even runs. So that would be awesome, but I don't think the Senate votes on impeachment. I think they vote against it, in which case Trump would be in the clear. But Trump, as you would probably guess if you've ever watched the news or understood Trump or anything like that, you would know that Trump is not probably acting kindly to this impeachment and not going to work with the House Judiciary Committee or the whole entire House or the Senate on impeachment. He's going to do, so far, what he said is until the House drops the impeachment inquiry, they will not comply with any, and I mean any, bills that the Democrats try to pass. This means that basically we have no chance of getting any gun legislation passed, any infrastructure legislation passed. None of that is going to get passed because Trump basically is trying to make the public believe that the Democrats can only do one thing at a time. So right now they're focused on impeachment, which they're really not. Like, they have lawyers and private investigators working on all that stuff. They just are going to vote on it once they have the facts. They are still working on passing legislation. They still do have jobs. And as a House or a Senate member, your job is to pass legislation and to write legislation. And so they do still have jobs, and they are still writing and passing legislation. So what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to say, we're not going to pass any of this stuff. It's automatically going to be a no. And so it's going to put the bulk on the Democrats, and it's going to make the public feel like the Democrats aren't passing any bills. And I think that's going to make a lot of people just kind of use that to their advantage and say, well, the Democrats can only do one thing at once, even though it's really the Republicans and Trump's fault for not actually passing any of the bills. And it really stinks because it's like now, because of an impeachment inquiry, we're not going to be able to get anything passed. And what does that mean? That means that it's going to be a lot harder. Like, you thought it was hard to get gun legislation passed before the impeachment inquiry. At least we maybe had some chance that Mitch McConnell would like it. I mean, there was really no chance. But now we have Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump that are definitely going to say no. It used to be Mitch McConnell that was definitely going to say no, and Trump that was probably going to say no. Now they're both going to say no, which really does kind of stink. But, so staying along with the impeachment inquiry, another thing that Trump has done in reaction to impeachment is he has lashed out at the whistleblower. I think that goes without saying. It was pretty obvious. He lashes out at everyone that doesn't agree with him. But what he has done is he wants to get the whistleblower, and he wants to get And he wants to get the government officials that gave the whistleblower the information about the call. They want them both. He basically is saying that he wants them both arrested, and he wants to charge the government officials with spying. And basically, back in a while ago, the punishment for spying was death, and so he wants to reinsert that punishment specifically for those government officials. And then he wants to charge them, and then he wants to charge the whistleblower with treason, which is still punishable by death. Like, just think about that. Like, our president wants to literally get somebody executed because they wrote a complaint about him. Now, I get it. It's not just like a complaint like, oh, he doesn't clean his room. It's a complaint like, yeah, we should get this guy impeached. But it's still a complaint, and it's still not acceptable. How could it, how is this our president? How did we elect him? And this goes back to, like, how did we elect him? Well, we elected him off of lies. Like, I think there were 3 reasons he got elected. I think the first one was because of the Democrats. They put through Hillary Clinton. I don't think she had any chance of beating Trump. Hillary Clinton was just not the person to put through. I think if we had put through Bernie, we might have won. Not just coming from the point I am a progressive, but not just saying because I liked him more, because I am a progressive. Actually coming from the point of just straight out numbers, I think he would have beat Hillary. Then we also have Trump lying. I think Trump lied a lot. I think he said he was going to help the working party. He didn't. He's just upped taxes and cut taxes for the rich. I think he's definitely lied a lot, and I think that was a very big contributing reason to the reason he got elected. And I think the third reason, though, is just the American people. Half the American people that would probably have voted Democrat because we put through Hillary, and this goes back to the reason we put through Hillary, like that we shouldn't have put through Hillary, but they didn't vote. And because so many people didn't vote, Trump became our president. And it's just kind of crazy that happened, and it really just shows how much, the American people need to vote. Like, guys, go out and vote, I can't vote. I can't have a say in this stuff, but as an adult, you have the responsibility to vote, and I think it's very important, because if you're not out there voting, we could have a similar situation to Trump becoming our president. So yeah, that's pretty important, but also just kind of a fun story that I just forgot. Cut this part out, Sam. So yeah, I mean, impeachment has officially began, and I think it's going to be a really interesting process. I think it's going to be a comedy show in the White House to watch, You're going to go from comedy show in the White House season 1 to comedy in the White House season 2, which is going to be even better than comedy in the White House season 1, because season 2 is going to be featuring impeachment, Nancy Pelosi, and the entire House of Representatives, and literally every single Democrat in the world. And yeah, it's really going to get interesting. It's going to be fun to watch. We're going to have a lot of news to cover. And, I'm really excited for it from a perspective of, like, a channel on YouTube and actually getting more new stuff to report on because of this, and more funny stories. But the problem is, I'm also not excited for this, because people are going to get roasted, and it's just really going to be an ugly scene and pretty embarrassing for America, given the fact that, Trump is going to really lash out at a lot of people. Also, it's not going to be fun for the House of Representatives or for even the Senate, because it's going to be impossible to get legislation passed with this whole Trump not passing any legislation thing. But just to dive into the reason that Trump's getting impeached is the call with Ukraine. But I think before I talk about the call with Ukraine, I need to talk about the scandals before that. We had Sharpiegate scandal, where he drew on the board the Sharpie and said that the hurricane was going to hit Hurricane Dorian was going to hit Alabama and scared a bunch of people. Whatever. That wasn't too serious. That was more just kind of like a funny thing, but it still was illegal to tamper with like professional documents, government documents. Then we've got the whole Russia scandal, where he supposedly altered the election, and like the whole election safety stuff that never got passed because of Moscow Mitch and all that stuff, which really Like, so he's had a lot of scandals, and he's had more. He's had the sexual abuse allegations and all of that stuff. The Taliban thing where he like invited them right before 9/11. So there has been a lot of scandals, but up until this, everyone was saying, well, most of the population, I think it was like 30% of the population supported impeachment. And so Nancy Pelosi didn't say we should go forward with a impeachment inquiry. Then the Ukraine call happened. He said to Ukraine, we're gonna, whistleblower came out and it basically said that, hey, we're gonna take away your military aid unless you give me dirt on Joe Biden, which is absolutely terrible. That's abusing your power, and I mean, you're not allowed to do that. I'm sorry, it's illegal. You can't abuse your power in the office. Um, so that was pretty interesting because what you saw was 2 days after the whistleblower complaint came out. What basically happened was impeachment ratings went from like 20 to 30% to like 40 to 50%. Now, today, the most recent numbers I believe is somewhere to 55 to 60% of people support impeachment. Think about that. In a week, impeachment approval ratings have jumped 20%. 20%. 1/5 of the population has just changed their mind about impeachment in 1 week. One. That's insane. And that was after, originally it was only about 30 to 40% that jumped, but then the audio transcript of the call came out, and then even more people realized how terrible this call was. And at Fox News, they're not going to admit any of this stuff because, they're so Republican and all that stuff, but Tucker Carlson was reported to have said, not on the air, that this is bad for Trump. And when Tucker Carlson is saying something's bad for Trump, it's bad for Trump. Trump is in big trouble. Whether you like the guy or not, he's in big trouble. And this is going to be a big issue that might be his downfall. And I think it definitely could be the reason that he doesn't get reelected. But I think it also depends on who we put through as Democrats. I think if we put through somebody like Joe Biden, I don't know if he'll win. I think he runs off that he'll win, and I think it really just depends on whether Trump can hit him where it's hard, because there are some good things about Biden, and there are some bad things about Biden, but I think that if Trump, I'm going to give it to Trump, he's good in debates, and if Trump hits Joe Biden hard with that punch of, all the things he's done wrong in his life, and all the things that Trump has done better, and how, Joe Biden often forgets stuff, he's in big trouble. And so I just don't know if Trump plays his debate right, then I think he beats Biden. But I think if we put through somebody like Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, I think they actually have a chance. Or even Andrew Yang. Although I think the only problem with Andrew Yang even getting through the primaries is the fact that Trump was a businessman, and I think a lot of Democrats, I'm not sure about this, I don't have any numbers, but just from, my guess is that I feel like a lot of Democrats are probably going to be worried that something similar to what happened with Trump is going to happen with Andrew Yang, because he's a businessman with no political experience. But the difference is I think that Andrew Yang actually knows what he's doing when it comes to politics, actually understands the law, and all of that type of thing. So I think that's the main difference. But yeah. So, unfortunately, this is actually a really fun episode to record, but that is all the time I have for today because it is a solo, so I can't go for as long as our normal episodes. So, thank you for watching, everybody, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, our first CamelCast solo. We will be back with a CamelCast with a normal episode next week because Sam will be back from Texas. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any thoughts or disagreements or agreements with this video, please write down in the comments. Also, if you have any ideas or suggestions for the channel, write them down in the comments as well. We'll probably respond, and maybe we'll even give you a heart. Maybe even a pin, for that matter. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and goodbye. Bye.